is on the ropes. Here comes Goyette. Nice little move. Hefford comes in with Campbell. Shoots, score! She shoots and scores! And goes!
25 years ago, two bitter rivals.
This was the best on best, the best rivalry of all of sport.
Goyette, the list, it goes on and on and on and on.
We wanted to give them the message that it's our sport.
It was just ingrained and entrenched in you. Gold was on the line, you knew it. That's where rivalries get rooted, when you know either team can win.
No other hockey nation had been able to dethrone the top two.
Americans were always coming for us. Like, they were always just right there, and they were ready to take us down.
Canada owned the World Championships, winning 25 straight games from its inception in 1990.
If you look at different World Championships, they were getting closer and closer and bridging the gap from the first World Championship, the first Olympics.
You wanted to be there, you wanted to be a part of it, and you just wanted to show that we were a great team.
Then, in 1998, at the first Olympics to include women's hockey, a shocking upset.
I remember it was all, we were the favorites. And I remember thinking, well, not really. I mean, that season, we played each other 15 times. So that series was 7-7 going into the gold medal game. So it was dead even. So the reality was that whatever ground Canada had on them up until that point, the US had caught up and they pulled it off. So
after the 1998 Olympics and losing in the gold medal game, whether it be 99, 2000, 2001, there was a lot of us that wanted to continue to play and be better and be successful and continue to show like we lost the Olympics, but we didn't want to lose again.
I think for a lot of the players on that roster, it really fueled the fire going forward in terms of like your work ethic and wanting to get better and knowing you had to get better, because, you know, that one really did sting and we needed a gold medal. It's Canada, it's hockey. And so it was a tough one. It was definitely a tough pill to swallow.
2 years later, in April 2000, the tournament returned to Canada for the first time since that loss.
And it was actually, the first time we were back since the Olympics. 99 we were in Finland, but in 2000 in Mississauga, it was just amazing. The crowd, the ambience, everything it's always so special to play in front of the home crowd and your friends, your family, everybody. And
there's nothing like doing it in your backyard when you can just zip down the street and go home. I grew up playing at backyard rinks in Mississauga, and Hazel McCallion dropped the first puck at my very first game and my last game.
Honorary chairman of the World Championships, Mayor Hazel McCallion.
So it all sort of came full circle.
I've got my fingers crossed, I got my toes crossed that Canada is going to come through and make it the 6th World Tournament gold.
Team Canada had legends like Geraldine Heaney, Hayley Wickenheiser, Danielle Goyette, Jayna Hefford, Cassie Campbell, Nancy Drolet, Therese Brisson, and Vicky Sunohara. Not to mention a young D pair that was relied upon more and more by the coaching staff.
I think there was a need then. They had lots of offensive defenders at the time, and there was a need for defensive players. So I thought, well, this might be how I make the team. And so you take that role and you accept it and you become good at it, and then that's who you are. We both came into this team, I think it was Brisson, Heaney, two of the best defenders in the world, right? And they'd been there for a while, and, you know, Heaney was the Bobby Orr of women's hockey at the time. So yeah, for sure, you come in initially and you look up to them.
Becky and Cheryl, I think, together for the coaches just became reliable. High and hard off the glass, that was their MO. They put it into the neutral zone and just got our forwards to skate onto the puck. It wasn't up to them to make that first pass, you know, it was up to them to get the puck out. And they often were on the PK, if I remember correctly, They often were put in positions in the last couple minutes of a period, and just very reliable, I would say.
Cassie Campbell, of course, would be the future captain, and transitioned herself from forward to defense. She did that in 1999, coming out of the 98 Olympics.
Here comes Campbell. She's got good speed. Push it up ahead. Puck rolled in front. Campbell shoots, scores!
I had such a great time playing with Jayna when it was our club team or, prior to, and she's just clutch, right? And so she just scored big goals. She scored many, but many of them were big, big goals.
Of the game is number 22, Hayley Wickenheiser.
Wick definitely amplified the rivalry, so there's no secrets there, right? She's going to make that rivalry even more intense than it already is.
Vicky Sunohara for me is just a glue piece. She sort of connects all groups. Like, we were fairly young, but I always knew like Vicky would connect anyone on a team. So I always felt like she was one of those irreplaceable pieces on a team.
Their goaltending was impeccable. Sami Jo Small and Kim St. Pierre.
At the 1999 Three Nations tournament, she played a couple of games in the World Championship last year, a native of Châteauguay, Quebec.
Sami and Kim were totally different people, both incredible professionals, very, very different people, but the salt of the earth, nice. So when they would win, I would be incredibly beyond happy.
And it's funny too, because they support each other so well.
I wouldn't say that Mel Davidson necessarily had the most faith in me as a goalie. She always said that I scared her in net, like I worried her because I was kind of all over the place. I came into the national team program and I had zero technique. Like, I had never learned to butterfly before I joined the Olympic team in 98. I just came in with, I would say, raw athleticism and tried to learn from Kim and eventually Charlie. But they were just so disciplined in that. Like, they just looked smooth. They looked like they knew what they were doing. And I didn't have any of that. And I felt like I just wanted to battle all the time to try to make that save and keep making that save over. And
of course, we have the superstars, but nothing can dispute the goaltending with Team Canada that we had in that decade or beyond that decade. It's off the charts. Any goalie could go in any time at any World Championship or Olympic Games.
Our goaltending was spectacular, and I think one of the biggest parts about being a good goalie is your demeanor, and both of them were so calm. And Sami came to the program, and it was one of her first events ever, was a Three Nations Cup, and the championship game went to a shootout. And so she, we're all, I think I was more nervous and I wasn't shooting. And she'd go stand in the net and she'd make a save, and then she'd come skate over to the bench and she'd kind of be kidding around, and it's like, oh, my turn to go back in the net, and back she'd go and make another save. And I was just amazed at how she could be so calm and just enjoy the moment especially when she was new on the team, let alone just the fact that it was a big moment.
And when you have a goaltender, you can look behind you and know that that save's going to be made and there's trust in it. You just have so much confidence, and that confidence allows you to play your game.
Our two goaltenders, you hear all the stories this week about who's going to get the final, and I wouldn't want to make that decision.
I think that'll be a tough decision to see who gets the nod for the final, and I wouldn't want to be the coach on that one.
The Americans were captained by a legend as well, Cammi Granato, and possessed dangerous scoring threats like Chrissy Wendell and Natalie Darwitz. On the blue line, a different kind of danger, Angela Ruggiero.
She was liable to throw you through the end boards when she came down low. And she was
strong.
Big and strong.
Cammi Granato, the Wayne Gretzky of U.S. women's hockey.
I think of Cammi Granato, and this is no knock on her, but she isn't the best skater. She isn't the best shooter. She doesn't stick handle the best. And yet, she is always a threat every time she steps on the ice.
Cammi Granato was slippery, and one of the players that I know for me that I was always aware of, backdoor on say a power play, someone who could just make you look sick, although she wasn't lightning fast, but she could dangle you. She had such an intense IQ to her game, and she had a slippery set of hands. So she was one of the most dangerous players for me in terms of just trying not to lose sight of her.
I would say Cammi Granato is one of the hardest players I've ever played against, and people ask me why, and I'm like, I don't know what it was about her, just her sheer hockey IQ, but it just made her so good.
She's got a feel for where the puck's going to be, and it all starts.
There is just a fire when you can sit across on the blue line and you just have the stare down.
That's a pretty good hockey team. That's a Hall of Fame hockey team.